Earlier this week, Todd Nelson announced he was leaving the Griffins for an opportunity to return to the NHL as an assistant coach with the Dallas Stars. He was the first player ever signed by the Griffins, spent 4 years here as a player, another as an assistant, was a player and head coach in Muskegon, where he led the Fury to a Colonial Cup title. Of course, later returned to Grand Rapids as head coach of the Griffins, where he led the Griffs to 3 straight playoff appearances and a Calder Cup championship. And while returning to the NHL was an offer he could not refuse, Todd Nelson told me leaving Grand Rapids was still an incredibly difficult decision to make.
I'm very excited. You know what? That's everybody's goal, is to get to the National Hockey League. I wanted to go up as a head coach, but that didn't happen. But I just felt that this is a time for just another chapter in my life. I feel that I have to go back up there and stay current with the system work and the players and you know, get some more NHL experience. I think that's the last thing on my resume that I really need, is to be more experienced at the NHL level. And so I'm very excited.
I know a lot of the guys, your guys here mentioned at the end, they were hoping you get a chance just because, in their words, you didn't have anything else really to prove here. Were you hoping it was going to happen this summer? Did you think it would happen this summer?
I wanted to explore what options were available out there, and I was talking to 3 different teams about being an assistant. The Dallas situation was always intriguing. I know the head coach, Jim Montgomery. We have a past together. We played a season in Hershey, and we have good chemistry. And when I met with him, our philosophies are very similar. And so I think it's going to be a great marriage. And you know, he expressed to me, he goes, I want to bring you on board because you have NHL experience, you have pro experience. Jim hasn't coached pro players, and so he wants to lean on me, and I accept that responsibility. I think it's going to be a great situation, and you know what? But it was a tough decision to make. I was very conflicted, and it's hard not to get emotional about it. But just all the support from the players. My phone's been blowing up. They're all rooting for me, and it makes a head coach feel really good.
With Jim, it's who you know in everything in life, but how much more comfortable is it for you going in where you know a guy and you know you have the same philosophies?
Well, it makes it a lot more comfortable. You know, in the hockey world, it's a small world. You know a lot of different people, but I know Jim on a personal basis, and also Jim Nill, for that matter, who is assistant GM for Detroit, and I worked 1 year with him in 2003. And if you ask anybody in the hockey world what kind of person Jim Nill is, his reputation is unbelievable. He's a very nice man. He's a good hockey man. And so, besides those 2 guys, I know some guys in the scouting staff. Rich Peverly's a guy that I coached in Atlanta. He's part of their development staff. So there's a lot of people that I know there. So it makes it pretty comfortable.
Were the Red Wings a place you would look for an opportunity when they had an opening?
Yes, and I talked with them, and you know, it was a situation where I just felt that I wanted to stay ahead of the curve. I wanted to go to a new destination, and you know, I talked to Blash at length, and we had great conversations, and there's no doubt that we'd make things work together. But I just felt that you know, with Jim Montgomery, he's going into an organization on a fresh deal. I get more security going there, and in this game things happen quick. You just never know what can happen. But I had a good conversation with Jeff last night. Obviously everybody knew about this yesterday, but you know, he was very happy for me, very complimentary. We have a great relationship, and you know, I wish him all the best in the future. And you know, he's been a good friend the last 3 years.
A lot of them here for you. I mean, we can talk about your last few years here as the head coach, but you were here before as assistant. The first story I think I did in Grand Rapids Griffins when I was here was you being the first guy signed here. I mean, how difficult is it to leave this place, the city, not just the team?
Very difficult. It's just very tough. A lot of good people here. Have a lot of good friends. It's a great city. I think the easy thing for me to do would just stay put, which is not a bad option at all. This is a great spot. I went back and forth on it, and I talked to a lot of different people. And you know, 50% of the people were saying just stay put of where you're at. It's a great spot. You know, bide your time. And then there's other people saying, well, if you're going to a different organization other than Dallas, so I'm not going to name any teams, but maybe an organization that doesn't have a great chance to making the playoffs, we say stay put. But you're going to a team that is on the cusp of doing some special things. You know, they have great players there right now, but also with that being said, they have a team right now playing in the Calder Cup finals, and so there's a lot of those young guys that'll be graduating. So the future looks really positive there, and so that's really what made my decision. And like I said, I wanted something new. I didn't want to get labeled just being a head coach in the American Hockey League, because I've coached the last 8 years at this level. I feel that I just felt in my gut I had something more to prove, or just to improve on, and make myself a better coach. And I feel that working with Jim Montgomery is going to help me do that.
Take great pride in the fact that you were able to bring a championship team here. I mean, when people talk to me about you, kind of like Blash, it's like everywhere he's gone, he's won. You won in Muskegon, you won here, you won with Chicago in the AHL. You've been a winner everywhere. How important was that to you to make sure you won here before you left too?
That's why I came here. That was my goal. After what happened in Edmonton, I felt I had to reestablish myself as a good head coach in the American Hockey League, and I think I achieved that here with a lot of good help. I had 3 fantastic assistant coaches with Bruce Ramsey, Ben Simon, Mike Knubel, Brian Mahoney-Wilson, our goalie coach, Bill Leroy, our video coach, and a great staff to work with, the training staff and the equipment staff. And so you don't do this alone. You do this with good people, and that's what makes it very difficult in leaving, because I'm leaving a lot of good people, but with that being said, I'm going to an organization that has a lot of good people as well.
Oh, and that's why Jim brought you in, because he knows you can't do that alone. You have to have those people with you. I know you have no say in what happens here. How much would you like to see, you know, Ben or those guys get an opportunity to maybe be a coach here as well?
It'd be fantastic, and I'm not sure what road they're going to go down. I think our coaching staff did an excellent job on every night we played. Our teams were prepared. Those guys spend countless hours on video and making sure the team is ready to go. Especially, Bruce and Benny worked close with them the last 3 years. You develop a relationship with them. When you win a championship with anybody, it's extra special. And like I said, I'm getting messages from Tyler Bertuzzi, Martin Firk, Kyle Criscolo, current players, Brian Lashoff, and it's, like I said, it's hard not to be emotional.
I think head coaching is the future for you, and I think a lot of people will be pulling for the Stars this year, outside of 2 games of the season.
Of course. No, it's going to be an exciting time. I'm looking forward to the challenge. I just felt that I needed something new, and I'm trying to use this as a springboard to be a head coach of the National Hockey League. It may not work, but I feel that you got to keep on building your resume, and I think going to Dallas and getting some more NHL experience is certainly going to help.
Yeah. Well, the way things have gone, I think a lot of people think it will work. It's been fun having you here.
Well, thanks, Larry.
Again.
Well, who knows how this life works, right? It seems like every time I leave, I come back. But I definitely will be spending my summers here. I'm going to keep my current house. My daughter goes to school here, so I have a feeling that we'll be, spending more time here in West Michigan.